Hey everybody, Dave Bazanko, and today's question is, what is a good time for an Ironman? What is a good time that you could post? That's a great question. And what you're going to hear quite often is the saying, your first and only goal is to get to the finish line. What does that mean? That means that you're going to finish the race in 17 hours or less. Now remember, each discipline, the swim, the bike, the run, they have their own cutoff times. So if you don't make the minimum cutoff time for each one of those disciplines, you don't get the opportunity to keep moving on. They've got somebody on the course called a sweeper. And what they do is they sweep off the course anybody who is not looking like they're going to hit that cutoff time. Now, you don't tend to see a lot of that in the water. They do let you finish the swim, obviously, in the water. But if you don't get out of the water in time, they're not going to let you get onto the bike. If you don't get off the bike in time, they're not going to let you get onto the run course. And you'll see this in the Ironman races. There will be people coming in and they're doing the math and they're like, okay, we're here's 17 hours, here's your pace, you still got 3 kilometers to go. And they'll do the math and pull you off the race course if you don't display that you're going to get there in time. Because at 17 hours, the whole race is shut down. And if you were not going to get there in 17 hours, they've already pulled you off the race course. That's what the sweeper is. So what's a good time? Well, again, your only goal when you get to race day on your first Ironman is to finish. And that is your only goal every time you get to an Ironman race. But the more you do these things, the more your expectations change. So my first race I made a ton of mistakes. I was 45 years old and I did that race in just under 13 hours, well, just under 14 hours. It was 13 hours and something. And it's always difficult. If you're ever looking at the clock in a picture of somebody finishing an Ironman, understand that unless they're a pro, that's not their real time. Because the clock starts when the pros go. The clock is for the pros. The age groupers, when they cross the timing mat and get into the water, that's when their day starts. So it's kind of funny. People ask me when I raced with my son in Ironman Muskoka in 2022, I came in after him, after he finished across the finish line by 10 minutes, but I actually beat him because my age group left the swim 25 minutes after his age group left the swim. So I actually beat him by almost 15 minutes. But if you look at the clock, it's confusing because his clock time and my clock time would suggest that he had a faster time. Not the case. You got to understand they start the clock with the pros because that timer is really for the pros, not for the age group athlete who's coming in after them. So that just to kind of wrap that up, what's a good time? A good time is, for me, I looked at, okay, I made a lot of mistakes. I did the right amount of volume of training, but I could have done the training better. I knew that. So with all those mistakes, with my age being 45 at the time, I still posted just under 14 hours, right? I had 3 hours to spare because I could have done it in 17 hours. Well, what did that tell me? That means I could do this race faster if I trained better. So it all comes down to how you train, how smart you train. And I've said this on this channel many times. What I'm sharing with you, all the training tips I'm sharing with you, these are things that beginners or even people who have done an Ironman once or twice, some of the tips, they may not have heard this before if they've never talked to a pro. I've talked to the pros. I've worked alongside the pros. I know what they're doing. Well, at least I knew what they were doing 5-10 years ago. Currently, what I would say is this: if you feel like you have the potential to podium finish or place high, that's when you want to work with a coach. Because a coach, as Craig Alexander told me, 3-time Ironman world champion, when you're in the top 1% of the top 1%, there are seconds everywhere. And it's your coach's job to find those seconds. Most triathletes that I talk to at the elite level do not know how to put together a training plan. They're a machine. They're like a racehorse, right? Nobody tells the racehorse doesn't think about his next workout. The racehorse goes out and does whatever the jockey asks it to do. Well, that's what like a pro triathlete is, a thoroughbred racehorse. and they do whatever the coach tells them to do. They've never stopped to sit back and think about, how do I put a training plan together? And when I took my training certification courses, I had a pro triathlete in that group with us taking that first level community triathlon coaching certification. And I was dumbfounded by the fact that she didn't know how to put a 12-month training program together or a 6-month training program together. Didn't know what a periodized training schedule was, because her entire world and focus and energy was on putting 100% faith in her coach and just doing whatever her coach told her to do. And she never really stopped to think about why she was doing it. You know, maybe she had some answers, but she never understood how to put it all together. So the thing about, you know, what's a respectable time to finish at the Ironman? Hey, your first and only goal is to finish. And anybody can finish this race. But the question is, if you want to finish faster, the bones of the training are the same. It's what you do in those training hours that will make the difference between placing 2,000th in the race or placing in the top 50. That's what a coach does for you. They'll come in and they'll help you get to that elite level. But I will tell you that 80% of the people doing Ironmans are not at the elite level. Every age group has 2 or 3 or maybe 10 athletes that are exceptional athletes and they're super competitive. If that's you, fantastic. Get a coach and have at it. If not, if you're like me and you're just there to place maybe in the top 50 of your age group, which I always have, and have a great day and feel great about your life and yourself and your choices and being out there and playing with, you know, the kids, anytime is a respectable time, so long as you get there within 17 hours. So I hope that answered your question. If you're doing a race coming up, let me know what race it is. Put it in the comments below. If you have a race goal time, let me know what it is. I'll cheer you on from the sidelines. If you've got questions, I can certainly answer questions for you and point you in the right direction. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, know that I've got a new video coming out every day answering another question from a beginner triathlete's point of view. This series right now, I've got over 250 questions written down, and that's just what I could think of to answer for you. If you've got questions, we'll keep this ball rolling and we'll just hopefully keep this thing going, and I'll be able to answer a new question every day. Thanks, everybody. Remember to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.